There is a piece of land in southern China that is smaller than San Francisco's downtown, has a population of around 680,000 people, and in 2024 generated $28 billion in casino revenue, not turnover. Revenue, the money that stayed after every bet was settled, every hand was played, every machine paid out. Las Vegas, the city that built its entire identity around gambling, generated roughly $7 billion from its strip casinos in the same year. Macau earned 4 times that number from a patch of land you could drive across in 20 minutes. It is the only place in China where gambling is legal, which means that every mainland Chinese citizen who wants to gamble legally has exactly one destination available to them. And that destination is a 32.9 square kilometer peninsula and 2 reclaimed land strips connected to the Pearl River Delta. Macau sits across the water from Hong Kong, about an hour by high-speed ferry, and it has been gambling's Asia headquarters since Portuguese traders established it as a trading port in the 16th century. Portugal handed it back to China in 1999, 22 years after the British handover of Hong Kong. And in the quarter century since, the city has undergone a transformation in scale that is difficult to overstate. The Cotai Strip, a stretch of reclaimed land connecting the islands of Taipa and Colloane, did not exist before 2004. It is now home to the densest concentration of large-scale resort architecture ever built in one place, and what has risen on it over the last 2 decades is unlike anything in the history of entertainment construction. The resort at the top of this list earns the #1 spot for a reason. But before we get there, we have 6 more casino complexes to walk through. And some of them will make you question whether the word casino still means what you think it means. Number 6. Grand Lisboa. To understand what Macau is, you first have to understand Stanley Ho. Because for most of the 20th century, Macau's casino industry and Stanley Ho were functionally the same thing. In 1962, Ho won an exclusive government franchise to operate gambling in Macau, a monopoly that he held for 40 years without interruption. Competitors were not permitted. Alternatives did not exist. Every casino, every table, every slot machine in Macau for those 4 decades operated under his umbrella through his company SJM Holdings. By the time that monopoly ended in 2002, Ho had become one of the wealthiest men in Asia, and Macau had become entirely dependent on the industry he had personally controlled. The Grand Lisboa, completed in 2008 on the Macau Peninsula, is the physical monument to that era. The building is 261 meters tall and shaped at its base like a giant lotus flower, a golden dome that rises from the street as an enormous spherical structure before the tower shoots upward above it. It is the most recognizable element of Macau's skyline and was deliberately designed to be. Inside the lotus base is the casino, with over 800 gaming tables and more than 1,000 slot machines spread across multiple floors, along with one of only a small number of poker rooms in Macau that offers Texas Hold'em. The tower above holds 800 hotel rooms, a wine cellar with over 15,000 bottles spanning 9 decades of vintages, and a Michelin 3-star restaurant called The 8, which has held that rating consistently and is considered one of the finest restaurants in China. Inside the casino, a permanent exhibit called the Star of Stanley Ho displays a collection of antique Chinese porcelain, jade carvings, and jewelry that Ho accumulated over decades, housed within the building he built to cap his legacy. Beyond the original Grand Lisboa, SJM opened the Grand Lisboa Palace on the Cotai Strip in 2021, a 3-tower complex housing 4 separate hotel brands including Palazzo Versace, Karl Lagerfeld, and Grand Lisboa Palace itself, adding 65,000 square feet of additional gaming space and a dramatically different architectural character from the original, with Cotai's scale allowing for something far more expansive than the peninsula's compressed geography ever permitted. The Grand Lisboa is where the story of modern Macau began. Everything that came after it was built in the space that opened up when the monopoly ended, and 6 competing operators were licensed for the first time. When those licenses were awarded, American casino giants including Las Vegas Sands, Wynn Resorts, and MGM Resorts entered Macau alongside Hong Kong-based Galaxy Entertainment and Australian-backed Melco, and what followed was one of the most concentrated periods of major construction in the history of the resort industry. Between 2004 and 2020, more than $50 billion was invested in casino resorts on a piece of reclaimed land that had not existed a decade earlier. The Grand Lisboa Peninsula property watches all of it from across the water, the original skyline anchor of a city that grew up around it and then surpassed it many times over. Number 5 arrived as part of that new competitive era and made a very specific statement about what kind of experience a casino resort could deliver. Number 5. MGM Cotai. MGM China opened the MGM Cotai in February 2018, and the defining architectural move it made has a name: The Spectacle. It is a glass atrium at the heart of the building covering 2,000 square meters, with a vaulted roof of 3,000 individually programmable LED panels that can display any image, pattern, or color combination across the entire ceiling surface in real time. When MGM describes it, they call it the world's largest indoor sky screen. And what that means in practice is that the central interior space of the building is an environment where the ceiling is a continuously shifting digital canvas visible from multiple floors. The atrium is flanked by a row of heritage shophouses, facades of traditional Chinese architecture transplanted into the interior, creating a streetscape inside a casino that references Macau's architectural history from within a building that contains none of it. The MGM Cotai holds a curated art collection of over 300 works by Chinese contemporary artists, not displayed as lobby decoration but integrated into the resort as a deliberate cultural program, with rotating exhibitions treated with the same seriousness as a commercial gallery. The casino floor covers approximately 130,000 square feet with around 350 gaming tables and 1,000 slot machines, built around a premium mass gaming strategy that prioritizes higher-spending recreational players over the VIP Baccarat junket model that dominated Macau before 2015. Within the resort complex is a transformable theater, seating up to 2,000, that can reconfigure its staging, seating, and sight lines for different production types, allowing concert formats, theatrical formats, and arena formats from the same space. The 1,400 rooms are arranged across 2 towers and include suites with views over the Cotai Strip and the surrounding resort landscape. Number 4 is where the restraint disappears entirely. Number 4. Wynn Palace. Steve Wynn opened his first Macau property on the peninsula in 2010, and it immediately set a new standard for interior finish and service quality in a market where the existing bar was already very high. What Wynn Palace did in 2016 was take that standard and push it into a completely different scale category, with a construction budget of $4.2 billion that remains one of the largest ever committed to a single casino resort anywhere in the world. The centerpiece of the exterior is an 8-acre performance lake completely built into the resort's design, surrounded by 2 tower wings that curve around it. The lake is fitted with 1,195 automated water jets capable of producing coordinated fountain choreography at 15-minute intervals, a display visible from across the Cotai Strip. Stretched above the lake on supports shaped like golden dragons is the Skycab, a cable car system that carries guests from the resort's entrance across the water to the main lobby, elevated above the fountain shows happening below. The interior extends the logic of the exterior. Floral sculptures composed of over 100,000 fresh flowers each are rotated regularly throughout the resort, designed as monumental installations rather than arrangements, and an art collection valued at over $125 million includes works displayed at the scale of museum pieces rather than hotel lobby decoration. The 1,706 rooms and suites begin at a standard that most 5-star properties in other cities would designate as their premium tier. Bathroom televisions, private butler service for suite categories, and views over either the performance lake or the Cotai skyline are standard across the property. The casino operates around 300 gaming tables targeting the premium mass segment, with private gaming salons and a chairman's club lounge for players at the higher end of that tier. Wynn regularly runs at close to 100% occupancy and has announced a $950 million expansion called The Enclave, which will add 432 all-suite rooms and a theater to the east side of the existing complex. The Skycab cable car is a detail worth pausing on specifically, because it is functionally unnecessary. The resort's lobby is not located at an inconvenient distance from anything. The cable car exists purely as an experience, and it generates a queue every day from guests who want to cross the lake elevated above the fountain choreography beneath them, watching the water jets program their patterns in sync from above. That is the logic of Wynn Palace in concentrated form. Spend the money on the thing that creates a memory even when it serves no practical purpose that a corridor could not solve more cheap. The room rate at Wynn Palace begins where most luxury properties in the same region end. The average daily rate is among the highest of any hotel in Macau. The property has received more Forbes Travel Guide 5-star awards than any other resort in the world, with over 1,000 rooms. A distinction it holds because the inspection criteria for that rating apply uniformly regardless of market, and Wynn meets them across 1,606 rooms consistently. Wynn Palace runs at a frequency and an investment level that suggests they have no intention of being outpaced in the specific segment they are targeting.